Dr. Ramakant Kulkarni, faculty members, and students. Chetan Business School is very close to my heart. For many years, I'm either visiting the institute or conducting these kind of webinars online. From various perspectives, you are in a great position having joined an MBA program at a very established and reputed institute like Chetan Business School. So my hearty congratulations to all of you for selecting an MBA course, a management course at a very good institute. So I'd like to wish you all the best for your future. And I do hope this program today, though it is going to be brief, it will open your mind and will help you to do your planning for careers. And career planning and development, which is today's topic, is also very dear to me because this is one of my focus areas through my writings in Deccan Herald Prajavani, and also my weekly column in Prajavani, whereby I answer all the students about so many questions they keep asking about what they should be doing, what course they should be taking. And very sadly, I must say that a lot of questions pertains to what somebody should be doing after completing the education. This is very relevant for today. I get a lot of questions from postgraduates. People have done MSc, people have done MTech, people have done MA, and they're asking after doing everything that what should I do next now? What kind of a job should I take? This is very sad because this is something people should be answering and planning before they take up a course. Okay, so students continue to get into this kind of some kind of a mess, I must say, that they do a course and then they want to plan the career. So that way you're very fortunate that you joined a very professional course at a good institute, and we are doing this session called career planning and development, which is very important, so that when you complete your post graduation, you are very, very clear in your mind. So let's begin, and let me see if I can share the screen. So I hope all of you are able to see the screen. Are you all able to see the screen?
You can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. All my writings are on my website, which is vpradeepkumar.com. And there's a YouTube channel with a lot of videos. I think about 45, 50 videos are there. There is one video which all of you can check later. It's about the advantages of doing an MBA, not just from the professional level, but what does it teach you, basically? It changes your way of thinking. It imbibes in you a sense of planning and so many things. It's in Kannada, and I do hope all of you can understand Kannada. So please do watch this particular video on the advantages of doing an MBA. In fact, I think the title is Badukina Sutragalannu Kalisuva MBA. That's the name of the video. So do watch that. And there is also a Facebook page is there, basically to post all the articles and new videos that I keep adding. So I do this program called Be the Architect of Your Life. That's the name of the program that I do. And it is done for all levels from 10th standard and PUC students till post-graduation level, including MBA or M.Pharma or any other post-graduation course. It's actually a one-day program followed by a workshop and individual counseling. That is, I sit with individual students, spend about half an hour, and sometimes for 10th and PUC, even the parents do join. And we discuss with a very open mind how the career should be planned, what are the strengths and weaknesses, what are the opportunities and threats, and then devise a kind of a career plan, which can be a guidepost for students for many years. So since it's a one-day program followed by a workshop and also individual counseling, that is how the program is designed. Be the architect of your life. So what I am planning to do today is to give you a gist of concepts, because we have, let's say, about 75, 90 minutes. And I do hope, we meet in the institute soon. All of you, I guess, most of you are in the first semester. So I think we'll be able to meet sometime and continue this, lecture in the form of a workshop. And if required, we can also spend time individually with individual counseling. So what are the concepts that I intend to cover today? So these are the things that I would like to cover first. One is, what is the importance of career? And what do you need for a successful career? Then how do you make a career plan? Importance of first job, corporate beliefs and expectations. This is the experience sharing I will be doing with you. And sometimes, we do get into issues, kind of career roadblocks by some wrong decisions or some mistakes. So what are those, so that, you can be conscious? Then there is something called mentoring. So who is a mentor, and what is the mentoring process, how important it is, especially in the initial years. And finally, what are the things that you need to be successful in a profession? And equally, what are the things that you need to be successful personally? So these are the things that we would cover. And if there is time, we could have questions at the end. As I keep talking, if you have some questions, you can keep them aside and ask me probably in the end. So to begin with, some questions you guys should be asking. And for example, how many of you would like to work for 30, 35 years in corporate, if you are looking at a career? And there could be many of you from business. So is there a plan to join a family business, or is there a plan to start your own business? So it's very important and useful to think on these and put your career in a direction right from now. To give an example, see, I did my MBA in 1980 from Karnataka University, and I did think on these lines. For example, I felt I should work in corporate for about 30 years. That's roughly the age I would have become 50. And let's say by about 2010, I should move away and do something else on my own. And more or less, I think it happened around what I planned. So I did come back from a very lucrative career in Dubai. In 2010, I returned to India to focus on management and career consultancy, and also writing and training. So why is a career very essential for any individual? Because you need to meet your financial requirements for yourself, your family, then social requirement. What I mean by social requirement is, we keep meeting a lot of people, whether it's in professionally or in family or social circles. So it's a very normal thing for anybody to ask an young person, what are you doing? Are you studying? Are you working somewhere? So you need to have something behind you as a kind of an achievement at every stage of your life. Because that gives you a lot of status and respect, and a successful job or business is also very essential for happiness, because that gives you a kind of a achievement and also acts as a kind of a self motivator. So it's very interesting to know how others became successful. Now, all of you are young, you just got into your post-graduation course. Obviously, you want to be successful in life. Now, what is the formula or what is the kind of strategy you must have is a question that should be running in your minds. So it's very interesting to know how others became successful, so that the same thought, same strategy, same formula can also be applied to yourself. And if this formula refers to some people who are actually celebrities, that is people who really made it very big, then your job is that much of easy. So let me briefly tell you a story of a writer called Napoleon Hill, who wrote this brilliant book called Think and Grow Rich, summarizing the formula of success of over 500 people of 19th century. And he studied people like Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, George Eastman, Henry Ford, John D. Rockefeller, then Woolworth. Woolworth is a very important chain of retail stores. Then William Wrigley. Wrigley, I think all of you will be knowing. So William Wrigley, who invented the chewing gums, then Theodore Roosevelt, American president. So this took several years for him to complete. And so this is the people he studied. And this is one of the all-time successful and maximum selling book. About 20 million copies have been sold last when I checked. And it is considered the 6th all-time best-selling paperback book. I would very strongly recommend each of you to buy this book. It's hardly about 100 rupees on Amazon, and it's a very small book, and it has got a lot of life lessons that are very important for you to understand and also imbibe. So whether it is Napoleon Hill, what comes out of his book, or of course he is from the last century. I think this book was published somewhere around mid 1930s. So whether it is Napoleon Hill of last century or the experts of this century, we all believe that professional success depends on 3 factors. What are the 3 factors? The first one is the knowledge for which you are in this institute. And second is the skills which is required to apply the knowledge. And then finally, what we call attitude. So what kind of skills and what kind of attitudes, apart from various subjects you study in MBA, is required for a career success? So very briefly, let's see. This is also called Ask Triangle or a triangle of success. This is called the triangle of success. So here we have skills and attitudes and knowledge. And by knowledge, that's the very reason why you are in this institute, to get various management concepts, whether it is related to marketing, HR, production, operation, logistics, finance, so many things are there. So, but that itself is not enough. So when you get into a career, you need to have the right skills, to apply this knowledge. And what are some of the skills that are mentioned here is, one is goal setting, how to set goals, time management, reasoning, communication, interpersonal skills. And depending on your job, there will be a lot of other skills as well. These are all general skills which are required for any particular functional area that you might join. But if it is, let's say you're getting into sales and marketing, you need many other things. You get into finance, you need something else. So there is something called the primary skills that is required for a career success. And there is also something called a job-oriented skills, which depends on the functional area that you are going to choose. But the most important thing is this things, attitudes, which are, for example, self-motivation, self-confidence, integrity, honesty, optimism, enthusiasm, how cooperative you are as a person when you work in an organization as part of a team, what kind of commitments you carry. So all these three things put together means the essential ingredient for professional success. So you're I suppose, studying all these subjects. And it's the most fundamental thing to know, and the first ingredient to success. So as I said earlier, this alone cannot guarantee success. You need to have skills. And for example, let's say the first skill is, before you enter into a company and start planning your marketing or sales or anything, any other functional related role, the first thing that you need to do is your own career planning and implementation. That's the reason we are here today. Okay. Then communication skills. And communication skill is not just ability to talk and speak well, but it is also to listen and also to write. Presentation skills, I think you will get a lot of opportunity in this program, unlike any other postgraduate degree, to improve your skills in presentation, because there will be a lot of debates, there will be a lot of presentation, there will be a lot of mini projects and so many things. So you will get well equipped on presentation skills. Time management, how to manage your time. There is a 4 quadrants in a grid, and you need to classify all your activities that you do in terms of their importance and urgency. So when you classify everything that you do in a day or a week or a month in terms of how important they are and how urgent they are, you will find one quadrant, that is usually the 4th quadrant, where we spend a lot of time which are neither urgent nor they're important, and that is where you get a lot of opportunity to save time. So we already ran through this. Just remember that, if you have sound knowledge and if you have the right kind of skills, you will succeed to some extent. But we must remember that ability or skills or knowledge may take you to the top, but you need the right attitude or you need the right character to stay there. There's a very interesting research done by Harvard many years back. The research was to find out how people get jobs. What happens in an interview, and what's the deciding factor in an interview, and how do people get jobs. And it was very interestingly found that most often, in fact, it's 85% of the time, people get jobs, not just because of the knowledge or the skills that they have, but it is more because of what is the kind of an attitude they display in an interview. In an interview, we ask a lot of questions. For example, we may say, we may ask a candidate, what are your hobbies? It looks such a simple, innocuous kind of a question, but there's a lot of meaning which is hidden behind. And depending on the kind of an answer, we come to several conclusions, on the nature of the personality and whether the person is suitable and things like that. So attitude is very important. And you'll be surprised, that we spend about how many years? 12 plus 3 plus 2, let's say 17, 18 years we spent on education. But very surprisingly, it's only some 15% of the time we get job because of what you have studied or what is there on paper in terms of certificate or degrees. But 85% of the time, you get your job because of what attitude is there in you, or what what interviewers or recruiters as they perceive about you. So it's very important to have the right attitude, and also to present in a very positive manner to people when you go for campus recruitments, or at any other stage in your life. This is one of my earlier article, Be the Architect of Your Life, and this was published in Deccan Herald. And conceptually, this is the kind of format that I follow, that there will be a lecture, there will be SWOT analysis, there will be aptitude test, and there will be group discussions, and then followed by individual counseling. So where do you actually begin in terms of planning your career? So I think the best way to understand and to begin the process is to ask questions. And what are the kind of questions that you need to ask to understand yourself? Some of the questions can be, what are my strengths? What are my strengths as a person? Am I an extrovert or an introvert? There is nothing wrong being an introvert or an extrovert, but it's a question of what is suitable to you in terms of your career, and therefore the relevance of questions like being extrovert or being an introvert. How are my interpersonal skills? How is my communication skills? How is my presentation skills? Am I a hardworking person? How good am I in time management? What are my hobbies and interests? Okay, so all these things will help you to do your own self-assessment. And these are the questions that are also asked in an offline full-day event as the first step towards building your career. So once you do your self-assessment, and let's say in your case, you are doing MBA in 2 years, you'll be completing MBA. So what are the options you have after completing your MBA? I think primarily there are 3 options. One is further study. Some of you might be interested to do a doctorate, for example. I remember some of my batchmates try to do IAS after MBA, for example. So there could be people who want to do something beyond an MBA, which is of course a strong possibility. There could be people who want to start their own business. We all know that India is very strong in startups, and I have been a consultant myself to a couple of startup companies. It's a great opportunity, and if the idea is strong, it's all the power of the idea, in terms of starting your own enterprise, and of course, job opportunities. So these are the 3 options that you have. And for the purpose of today's lecture and discussion, let us center it around job opportunities and how you should be planning your career. And once you do this, once you have assessed yourself, and once you have decided that, yes, I would like to build my career in the corporate world, then you have to choose your area of work in terms of specialization. You call it a functional area of work. And remember, irrespective of the functional area, you must be strong conceptually about all other areas. For example, this is your first semester, and you have in mind a kind of a specialization that you would like to do. That does not mean that in the first 2 semesters, probably, that other subjects are not that important. For example, if you are getting into marketing, you must know that finance is equally important to you. You might specialize in marketing, but you must also know all the basic concept, the core concepts of finance is extremely important. So whether it is whether you want to specialize in HR, you can't ignore marketing and or finance. So in fact, in interviews, it's very possible that people might ask you questions beyond your functional area to understand how strong you are in terms of the core concepts. So choose your area of work. And once you have chosen that you want to be in HR or marketing or finance or logistics or operation, whichever is the area of specialization, you need to decide on which industry or industries you like to work. I hope you're getting my point. Now is the time for you to start thinking about what kind of industry or what industries you would like to work, if it is HR or marketing or operations, whatever. Because there are sunshine industries. Sunshine industries are those which traditionally have a very good scope. And then there are upcoming industries are there, industries which are beginning to take shape. Let's say, for example, electric vehicles. This is an industry which is beginning to take shape. Okay. Then there are industries which are already on decline. Now, what are those? For example, diesel. Diesel cars are already on the decline. Okay, I don't think anybody is making any more diesel cars, so it's getting out of the market. So it's very important for you to understand which industries you would like to build your career, and accordingly you start thinking on those lines. Now, I mentioned about, let's say, sunshine industry or industry which are traditionally have a very good scope, and some of them are not affected by recession also. For example, food industry or food industry, for example, or even FMCG. Let's say food and FMCG are industries which are traditionally not so badly affected by recession, because these are very essential products which are consumed in large numbers by mass markets, and these are good industries which are not affected by any of the external factors. So what are the good industries? Food is one, FMCG is one. Then there is finance, investment, banking. All these are industries, which traditionally are somewhat insulated from the external factors. Now, once you have chosen, let's say automobiles you want to get into, or you want to get into FMCG, for example, then you have to think of all the companies, which are there in this particular industry, and think of all the options also in the placement process. And very important point I want to stress here, that apart from the help you get from the Institute for Placement, you must make your own efforts to get internships and also placements, because internships are extremely important, because they can be a ladder for success. They can be a gateway for getting into a good company. I remember in 1980 when we did MBA. I had two internships. My first internship was with those days it used to be number 3 in India. It was called the Mafatlal Group. It's no longer known by the group, but all the companies are still very much there. So first year I did my internship in Mafatlal's Bangalore, and the second year I did my internship in Tata's in Bombay. So when you go to good companies for internship, which you can also source from your own networks and do a very good job of it, it's almost as good as getting a job, because people will say, when are you completing the course? When can you join? And this is what happened. So I had 2 job offers through the internship, both the companies when I did my MBA, and through the placement process of the institute, we had, I think, 2 more jobs. So when I did my MBA, I had 4 jobs. And you can imagine your delight, you can imagine the comfort level of choosing whatever you like to do when you have a choice. So I would definitely like each one of you to plan your internship well, and use all your networking, all your resources to get into good companies for internship. And not just that, do a very good job of it and impress the people around there. Do some project that is of importance to the industry or the company, and you'll find in course of time you will get your job offers from there. So you must make your own efforts, and of course the institute the placement, everything is there. So that is how you must identify some top companies in a chosen industry and see whether you can get in there while doing a course in terms of internships. And once you have chosen a functional area, once you have chosen an industry, and you have a short list of some couple of names of companies there, then you have to plan your short-term goals and also long-term goals. Now, what are those? How long to work in a company? There's a traditional question is there. Should we work in one company and be there for a long time, build your career, or you should work there for a couple of years and move on? There's no definite answer to that. It depends on individual cases, the circumstances, the strength of the person, the strength of the company, and so many factors. But you need to make a plan. You need to make a short-term plan, a long-term plan, and how long to work at a branch level, and when should you plan, or how should you get into the head office of companies. These are some very important factors. And it's not just that, learning is a very continuous process, and you have to keep on adding new skills. You have to keep on sharpening your existing skills. And it's extremely important to, for somebody who is planning career and development, it's very important that you need to keep sharpening the skills and adding new ones, and also updating your knowledge. See, there's a quote. There's a quote which I remember. It's called intellectual property. Intellectual property has shelf life of a banana. So you can imagine how technology is growing every day, and how dynamic is the world that we are living in. So just because you do an MBA in 2 years, you get a lot of knowledge and skills. It's not the end. So when you work, you must continue to learn. You must continue to upgrade your skills. See, last 2 years, of course, all of us have gone through the pandemic. But I would also say that it was a great opportunity area for all of us, because all these massive online courses opened up. And even I was fortunate to do 2 courses, last 2 years. One was from Harvard, and another one was from IIM Bangalore. So we have to keep sharpening our skills, and we have to keep on adding to our knowledge. Now, imagine all of you are young and also therefore kind of inexperienced. Now, today in the institute, you have faculty members to guide you. Okay, you have experienced people around, and they'll be more than willing to help you and guide. But once you join an industry, what will happen? Who will be there to guide you? See, it's not very often that you find a boss who can be a mentor for you, because we all live in a highly competitive kind of a world, which means there is not much of a time, for spending time with juniors and do a mentoring process, especially in very large companies. It doesn't really happen. So who can guide you? Who can give you unbiased opinion and guide you through your, careers? There are such people who are also called as mentors. Okay. For example, when people attend my program, and we do a full-fledged program of individual counseling, I generally tell them that they can interact with me and get professional help, whenever needed. Sometimes in a career, you are in a fix, your existing company is offering a raise or a promotion, but at the same time, you have an offer from some other company. So how do you take a unbiased, a good decision. So that's the time you need somebody to help you around. So people can interact with me and get help in a very professional way. So and now for the last I think about 1 or 2 years, some new companies have come up. These are companies which offer mentorship services. In fact, there is a company called Intercell. I don't immediately remember all the names. Intercell is a company which offers mentorship services. I remember the name because I am also on their panel of mentoring. So they do. They have a lineup of mentors from various industries with different experience profile. And suppose somebody wants a mentoring help, somebody wants to discuss for about an hour, let's say, or meet somebody for an hour and talk about their professional issues and get guidance, then they can approach this company called Intercell, who will do the time slot. They will fix an interview, and they will facilitate the meeting, and that's how you can also get mentorship. And once you have done all this, then you need to plan your campus or direct recruitment. I think on mentoring, I will come back later and add a few more points. So the next point while you make a career plan is to plan your campus recruitment or direct recruitment, whichever, or ideally both you should be planning, so that you have more choices. I guess end of next year, probably 2023 towards the end, is perhaps the time when campus recruitments will be there. So be prepared, in terms with all your internship ideas, project ideas, research methodology, and improve your skills to be very effective in the placement process. There's not much of a time today, but what are the various techniques to be followed in a group discussion? What are the interview techniques that you should be adopting? What kind of intelligent questions you can ask in an interview? All these things must be learned and practiced. I also do a placement training which covers these aspects. So if there is an opportunity, we can meet just before your placement. And MBA is a very, very, very comprehensive course that takes all your time for 2 years and keeps you fully engaged with absolutely no free time. And in the end, after you have gone through all this, you will find yourself a completely new and holistic personality in you. And I would say every 2 years, you must keep reviewing your progress on your career and keep setting higher goals. We also call it as SMART goals, specific, measurable, realistic, achievable, and time bound. Okay. So keep reviewing your progress and set higher goals. Once you join a career, you could do it for 2 years. But now that you are in an institute, I think every few months you should be reviewing your progress on various aspects. So let's move on. So just a few points on the importance of first job. All of you are going to get into a first job in 2 years from now. So you must avoid making a mistake in choosing your first job. The reason is the first job sets the direction for your career. Remember, the first job sets the direction for your career. And what is the meaning of direction? Direction means a correct destination too. Okay, so the first job sets the direction for your career, and the right direction means a correct destination according to what you actually end up planning. And the first job is always a subject of discussions in interviews. People always want to know, where did you study? Okay, you did MBA. Okay, what did you do after that? And why did you join that company? Why did you choose that functional area? A lot of discussions are usually centered around the first job and the previous job. Previous job in the sense, if you are, let's say, changing a job after three, the fourth job you're trying to attend, then a lot of discussions will be there on your first job and the previous job and the contributions that you did there. So be aware of industry profile, company profile, and job profile of your first job, and what are the growth prospect, what new skills and earnings you must acquire, and what are the various challenges. Okay. Now let's see some very specific few functional areas and what kind of jobs. I mean, what will be a role there? You know, when you say I'm getting into marketing, it sounds very nice, but what will you do in marketing, or what will you do in HR, or what will you do in finance? So let's see some roles that you could consider, because we're talking about career planning and development, and therefore it's not enough if you feel, yes, I want to get into marketing, but what you would like to do in marketing, or how would you begin your career in marketing? So these are important things that you should have in your mind. So sales and marketing, the most basic, and I guess a lot of management students will get into sales and marketing to begin with. The most ideal way to join and begin a professional career is sales and marketing, because that gives you a very strong foundation, and also the opportunities are maximum in sales and marketing as compared to, let's say, for example, brand management. In an organization, brand management will be a very small team. There'll be just a few people doing brand management, maybe 3, 4, 5 maximum. But sales and marketing, it depends on the company's network. If there's a company like ITC or Hindustan Lever, for example, with thousands of, not thousand, lakhs of outlets across the country, then there will be, maybe 1,000 people will be there in a company in sales and marketing alone. That is direct employment. And then there will be people through distributors and dealers and all that. So opportunities also maximum sales and marketing, and it's the right way to begin. So sales and marketing is one. Then there is brand management, advertising and promotion. Advertising promotion, as you know, as you must by guessing now, usually it is through an agency. Some companies, of course, do have their own small department related to advertising and promotion to coordinate with agencies and media houses. Product management is very interesting. I think apart from sales and marketing, product management is a very important portfolio, and is conceptually very close to what you would study. And of course, there is a lot of field work will be there in product management too, but it's not on a daily basis. Customer service, then there is CRM. So for those of you who want to study further, okay, so there are opportunities to do something more. It can be a short-term course, it can be a doctorate. Also, there are opportunities for entrepreneurship. Let's see in HR, it's not only recruitment. It's not just campus recruitments and all that. There will be a lot of recruitments also happens on a day-to-day basis, but there's more of training these days. A lot of importance is given to training, and training is through internal faculty as well as external trainers. There's a lot of work related to performance evaluation and appraisal. Performance evaluation, although it happens yearly once, but there's a continuous evaluation and appraisal which keep happening. Maybe internally, that is not involving the employee, but otherwise performance evaluation is always done on a continuous basis. And people, when they do well, or people when they falter, usually internal notes are done, which goes to your personal file in HR. So all these records are kept, what exactly an employee keeps doing throughout the year. So there is continuous performance evaluation appraisal keeps happening. Although you might get an opportunity to sit across and get your performance evaluated once a year. So there is HR, for those of you who want to get into HR, there are a lot of areas are there. And if you get into manufacturing related industry, then there is a bit of labor relations. Of course, the labor or the trade union movement has lost some kind of a momentum over the last couple of decades. But otherwise, it used to be, very big issue, trade union relations or labor relations. But yes, even today in manufacturing industry, labor relations and all the due diligence has to be looked into. So that is also an area of opportunity for those of you who want to get into HR. So finance function in corporate world, banking. When I say banking, it means establishing relationship with multiple banks and getting loans, getting facilities, whether it is overdraft or working capital or project loans. A lot of things are there. And investments. Now, what is investment? I remember in Tata Infomedia, where I was there for about 10 years, because of the business model that we adopted in our Yellow Pages division, the whole division was extremely cash rich. Okay, so we used to always be cash surplus because we would get the money in advance for advertisements, and most of the expenditure would happen when we actually do the publishing. So it was a very cash rich company. And therefore, what do we do with so much of cash in the company all the time, which you don't use? So investments becomes a very important portfolio in certain companies. And I remember in Tata Infomedia, we were generating about 10 crores of other income. This is about 15 years back, 15, 18 years back. And 10 crores of other income is a very big, source of income. And all that used to come from investments in what we call ICD, that is intercompany deposits. Okay, so of course, Tata Group was very large. We had about 75, 80 companies. So we used to give a lot of funds to other companies in the group. But if somebody is an individual standalone company also, and you seem to be cash rich for some reason, so investments becomes a big portfolio. Okay, so it is not just banking, it is not just getting loans, it is also how you will deploy your funds. Then there are a lot of analysis, which is the key to decision making, and you will realize that finance team is very close to the top management, the managing director or CEO. So you have a lot of role to analyze the business and generate reports and help the management to take the right decisions. And when it comes to manufacturing, there's a lot of costing involved. So how do you do costing of your various products and services? It's very important to interact with the marketing team and guide them in terms of pricing. So I'm not getting into other roles. You have other roles like operations. Then you have logistics. There could be production area opportunities as well. But I guess most of you are getting into these three areas. So let's now move on. Now, before we end this short session for the day, I want to share some rules for success in a career. Okay. And instead of giving you 10 things to do, I generally prefer making this list a smaller list. and things that you can remember and things that you can actually end up doing it. Yeah, I think there's one more slide here, career options. Let me finish that. Yeah, apart from HR, marketing and finance, there's one more very important role, which is actually also very exciting. If you can get into corporate companies, a corporate office or in the headquarters, there will be a team usually to assist the managing director and the CEO. So they do take management graduates as management trainees usually, and they groom them for various positions, working very closely with the top management, including the CEO and managing director. So corporate headquarters is an opportunity, and you will get exposed to advertising, PR, every functional area you will get exposed. So let's come back to success in a career and give you what are the most important skills that you need to consider and develop. One is goals, setting goals, whether it is for you as an individual or in a functional area, how to set goals becomes extremely important. And what are SMART goals? They are specific goal, measurable goals, achievable goals, which are realistic and which are time bound. So goal setting is fun, because obviously when you set goals, you will work towards it and you will definitely be close to your goal. So second is communication. And what is communication? Is a lot of listening, written, verbal, non-verbal. Then there is interpersonal skills, extremely important. Interpersonal skills. Let me give an example. I was part of a selection team for a management institute in Bombay, and they were considering CAT results. And there was a guy who walked in, who had one of the top ranks in CAT. He also had an offer from IAM. And before he came to meet us, we had observed him in the group discussions, and he never uttered a word. So when he walked in, there was a kind of an arrogance, in his body language. So we started talking to him, and we realized that this guy is, so arrogant, and so much of ego he has just because he got one of the top ranks in CAT. So almost all the questions that we were asking, he had either neutral or negative answers. For example, when we asked him, what are your hobbies? I never had any time for all these things, sir. I was very focused. As we started speaking to him, we realized that although this guy may be brilliant, but he will have extremely bad interpersonal skills and he cannot sustain in a team. So we did not select him, not for job, even for a seat in this prestigious institution in Bombay. So interpersonal skills and how you are able to get along with people is extremely important. Then we have grooming. And again, a very important thing, how you dress yourself, how you present yourself. There's a saying that, you should always groom for your next position. If you're a sales executive, you should, groom like your boss. You should groom, or you should come across as if you're dressed for, or as if you're actually a sales manager. So understand the importance of grooming, because that is the first anybody sees you, whether it is a customer or your superior or in an interview situation. The first few seconds, before we actually start speaking to you, it makes a huge impact. Somebody is walking in. In fact, I must say, in many companies, we have CCTV, and we can actually see a candidate, the way he enters, the way he talks to the receptionist, the front office executive, the way he sits, and when he's asked to wait for 5 10 minutes, what does he do? Is he very nervous? Is he, what's he doing there? How is he using his time? So a lot of things are there that you need to understand and cultivate. So grooming is very important. So groom well, and like we say, groom for your next position. And finally, time management. I am not making a list of huge things, but according to me, with my experience of managing people, a lot of recruitment, things like that. So these are the 5 very important aspects: how you set your goals, and how good you are in communication, and how you get along with people, and how you come across as a person, and how you manage your time. Okay. And I mentioned to you earlier, you can check with Google if you want to check time management grid. So it will give you an idea of how to classify all your tasks into those 4 grids. And you will find grid number 4, which is which will take away a lot of your time. But you will find that you are in that particular grid, you are wasting a lot of time on things which are not very important and things which are not very urgent. So I have spent a kind of a lifetime in corporates, about almost 40 years now, little more than 40 years. So what's the thinking at corporate levels? What do we think in the companies? This is what I want to share with you. So what do we in corporate company, what do we believe? Because I can recall so many employees, including at some very senior levels, getting fired more because of bad behavior and very poor attitude than actually performance. So it's important for you to know what are the beliefs of those to whom you may work for, so you can align your behavior and actions appropriately. So for example, in an interview, if you say, I'm very sincere, sir, I'm very, a very hardworking person and all that, it's not going to carry much of weight. Please remember it, because this is expected. We expect people to be sincere, hardworking, and disciplined. There are not any great virtues that you can highlight. This is taken for granted. You're supposed to be doing it. And we believe that somebody is weak in selling skills, for example, we can spend half a day with them. We can train them, or we can send them to an external training program. So skills, any skills, if somebody is lacking in skills, it can be easily handled in a company. But if somebody is having a problem with an attitude, it is not possible, or it is not easy, to correct that. So any wrong attitude will be dealt with in a very different manner. But if you are short of skills, then that is not an issue. Okay. I remember a lot of people with negative attitude, they create problems to other people. Forget about they being a problem, but whichever team they work for, they are always a problem. So mercilessly, corporate companies will deal with negative attitudes. So be aware that I'm very sure all of you are young, inexperienced maybe, but all of you have a very positive attitude, I am very sure. So cultivate the experience of developing good positive attitude, and let it come across as a strength. Okay. Sometimes family background helps to draw inferences in interviews in any given situation. I don't know how many of you come from families into teaching, families into defense. You see, some of those things comes across as very strong ethics. We speak of ethics and morals in business and in work environment. So sometimes this background, what's your family background? Why do we ask this in the interview? Most of the time, the interview begins by asking, tell us something about yourself and your family. Is a very, very standard question to begin an interview. Why do we ask that? See, every question that is asked to you in an interview has got a lot of meaning. It's a very simple thing. So you should know how to highlight your family background in a manner that is impressive. And if there are, let's say, if there is one position and there are two candidates, okay, whom should you give? The basic philosophy is to give the job to somebody who needs it, somebody who, who needs to run his family. So needy ones should be given a job, and not somebody who is already very comfortable, because a needy person, the belief, we're talking about corporate beliefs. So a needy person, we believe, it will be more productive, will be more hardworking, will be more sincere, will be more valuing the job compared to somebody else. So job preferences in interviews or decision making, we usually like to give it to somebody who really needs it. I mentioned to you earlier about a CAT student who was rejected despite having a very big rank. So how compatible people are. That is the reason I said in the earlier slide that you have to understand and get along with people. Interpersonal skills is extremely important, because in companies we believe that compatibility is very important in a group. And because we have this kind of a belief, what is our mindset in companies? See, for example, usually in corporates, we have a very open mind, but we have a very fixed structure and terms. For example, let's say you come to a placement situation, let's say end of 2023. It's not easy. You cannot be negotiating with a company there, because although we have an open mind, but there is a fixed structure, there's a fixed terms, and it all falls into a certain system within the company. Okay, let me give an example here. Somewhere in 2008 or 2009, I was working in this company in Dubai, and we came to a management institute in Delhi for recruitment. And I think we had a requirement of max between 8 to 10 people for marketing team. And this was a very good institute, at least those days. And we were thinking some 30 to 40 students will apply, after corporate presentation and all that. But very surprisingly, and possibly because of also Dubai, that more than 100 people applied, for a position which we are thinking of initially about 8 or 10 people. Okay, but you'll be surprised to know that we took about 25 people in that one campus interview. Okay, because the students were very good, and they were all very excited, and they were all very much wanting to join us. So what does it mean? Many times corporates have an open mind in terms of how many people we can recruit, but we do have a fixed structure and terms. And all these factors, your grooming, I mentioned you earlier, hygiene, excitement, enthusiasm creates a very positive impression. This is what happened to us in this institute in Delhi some time back. And these are all expected, a good behavior, discipline is all expected. And if an institute or if a group of a batch of students can show value, there is no problem usually for companies to exceed recruitments. Because there will be some dropouts, there will be some people who will not join, and there will be some more vacancies. See, the whole process can take about 5-6 months. Companies coming into the institute, conducting the process. Of course, now we call it as a hybrid process, because there is online as well as offline. But irrespective of that, it does take 5-6 months, the whole process. You may be recruited by December and you may be able to join by June, for example. So in between, there could be some vacancies or dropouts. So companies can exceed the numbers. And also sometimes suddenly we find something new happening in a company, and that also adds. Now, with the beliefs, with the mindset driven by all this, what is the corporate reality? What is actually happens in companies uh, in a year. So there is a lot of increased focus on people and training. And we know that if you take 10 people, not all the 10 people will be very good. And sometimes some point is missed. Somebody doesn't observe properly body language or expressions. And there could be some wrong recruitments. And we do have situations where needs are not properly specified, or there is a mismatch between what actually we take and the skills that are required. And the whole process of recruitment is not exactly foolproof, I would say. Wrong recruitments do happen. We take 10 people, 1 or 2 people will be an issue. Okay. But business environment is very competitive, and expect companies to be very tough. Okay. For example, you are asked to report on such and such date, and for some reason you don't, then you may not have the job. Okay. And we know that many job offers are withdrawn for various reasons. It could be change in internal environment, it could be change in external situation, or it could be something else. So business environment is extremely competitive. So please expect companies to be tough. Okay. In an institute, we give a lot of freedom. You do get some amount of freedom, and you have to get used to a tough situation in terms of you are expected to do certain things. You better do it. Okay. So companies, you will find companies to be tough. But when we say tough, I'm talking about simple things, that there should be no case of indiscipline. There should be no negativity. What is indiscipline? A lot of indiscipline. Somehow, when people are very young, they take a lot of things for granted. I remember in Tata Infomedia, we had a very large sales team. I think about 40 people were there. It was the beginning of Tata Infomedia in 1993, I think. And we found about 6-7 salespeople. They're from the office. They're supposed to go to the field. And what they were doing was, the pressure was so high, I think, that they were not getting into the field from the office. They were getting into a restaurant and sitting there till lunchtime, and then they will just go around the market and come back. So we found that a group of people are not performing, and we could sense that something wrong is there. So we came to know that there is a group of 5-6 people who are not working properly, and who are getting into a restaurant and sitting there, till late afternoon, and then they will just go around or meet 1 or 2 clients and come back. I remember even till today, I remember that myself and our branch manager, we drove to that restaurant, and we found our team of 6-7 people there doing nothing. And on the spot, that is, of course, after coming back to the office, we sacked all the 7 of them. Okay. So companies will be tough on certain issues. If you don't perform, there is no there is no major issue, because you can sit across and discuss that I am weak in certain aspects of my job. So can you help me? People will be very open for it. But if you're indisciplined and not working properly and all that, expect companies to be very tough. I'm telling you all this corporate beliefs and mindset and reality, so that when you do your career planning, all these things should be in your back of your mind. And all your jobs today, even finance jobs, are having objectives, targets, key result areas and things like that. So all the jobs, it's not most jobs, almost all the jobs are driven by quantitative and qualitative objectives. And therefore, the how you perform on the job is the key. And I want to mention this career roadblocks. What can go wrong, when you build your career, especially in the first couple of years. That's why it's so important that you pick up the right job. So I want to mention a few things which can act as roadblocks for you, and therefore you are aware of it and you can avoid it. So lack of vision. What is it that you want to do in your professional life? If you don't have and you accept whatever is the job, then you will find in no time that this is not what I'm comfortable with. Okay. So you get stuck in a company within the first few months or 6 months and not knowing what to do because you have taken a wrong step. And why did you take a wrong step? Because you had no vision, you had no planning. And that's the reason why this session is being done today, so that you are very clear what exactly you want to do once this course is over. Poor performance. When you fall under unacceptable performance, I'm not saying here that if a target is given to you, let's say 100 is your target and you end up doing about 70, for example, okay, it may be unacceptable. Okay, it may not be unacceptable at, let's say, 70% level, but if you fall below 30-40% and all that, then people will not be having time to spend time with you and deal with you. Because in a team, we don't expect everybody to be 100. There'll be people who will do 120, 130, 150 also, I have seen. And there'll be people who will be less than 50 also. So what is it that in a company, something is unacceptable? And I'm not talking of sales targets or marketing targets. I'm talking about any job role in any functional area. What is it that is expected? And what will happen if you fall under unacceptable performance is that you may lose your job and get into a situation of what we call roadblocks. Burnout. This is a term that a lot of people used to, refer in various companies. And when you don't manage your job properly, when you don't work every day, every day must be a day of some progress. But a lot of students, for example, we do a lot of studying around the time of exams. A lot of people will do that. You would have done that. But that's not what you can do in a job. Because if you try doing that, if you say that, okay, let me relax for the first 20 days and work in the last 1 week and meet whatever is the expectation, you will find fully stressed out and you will crack under pressure. And eventually you will feel a sense of burnout, what they call burnout. And we keep harping on this subject that you have to broaden the horizon and be flexible and keep learning things, because that is how you can continue to work for a company and build your career. Because if you don't do that, again you will have issues. And lack of self-belief. When you read that book, this is one thing which comes across very strongly, Think and Grow Rich, that he says about 95% of the people, this Napoleon Hill, when he did this research and met all the 500 celebrities of those days, he says that most of the people feel that they don't deserve something bigger than what they are in life. Okay, because they don't have that belief or faith in themselves. This is exactly what Vivekananda said, that everybody is blessed with so much of talent and energy, but it is just that we don't seem to use it because we believe that we don't deserve it. Okay, so lack of self-belief can also be a career block for you. And complacency. Never get into comfort zones, never become complacent, because things can change tomorrow, things can change next moment. Okay. Now, last 3-4 slides, what did we speak? We spoke about corporate beliefs. We spoke about, therefore, what is the corporate mindset. We also spoke about, the reality in companies. And we also spoke about career roadblocks. Okay. So when you think of all this, this is the very reason why we speak about mentoring process, where you have somebody who can listen and understand you, somebody who can, without bias, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, advise what you should be doing. And see, there's a saying which is, yes, I have made mistakes because my life didn't come with an instruction manual. Okay, so when you are young, especially in the initial years of your career, mistakes are bound to happen. But you might need someone to tell us those mistakes and also correct it. So that is how the process of mentoring is very important. So, so why do we need mentor? Because of corporate beliefs and reality, and because when we're young, we may not know what action leads to what, or what behavior leads to what actions by the company. Okay, and a lot of new opportunities are there. A lot of sunshine industries are there. A lot of upcoming industries are there. So the role of a mentor is very critical in shaping your career. And to tell you beforehand, forewarn you that this is the path you should be taking, because this path leads nowhere, for example. And very importantly, a mentor, when you sit with them for about an hour, they will understand what's your aptitude and what your skill sets are, and whether it supports your career planning and development, or your dream career. So I would say that the first 5 to 10 years of your career, if you have a mentor to handhold you and ensure your career takes off, it's a very ideal situation. Okay. So currently, what should be running your mind as we have coming to almost the close of the session? What are my options after an MBA? What are the industries which are on growth path? How can I, use my MBA to start an enterprise? It's a great opportunity area. If you have a strong idea, the whole startup concept is only on the power of an idea, how unique it is, how innovative it is, how scalable it is. These are the factors on which a new startup idea can succeed. And funds is really not a problem. It's all depends on the power of an idea. Okay. And am I making the correct career choice? Who will you go and ask all this? Ideally, a mentor. What's my professional identity? And with a mentoring program, you can connect with an experienced professional and make them as your role models. Because these are questions which are not very easy to find answers yourself. Okay. And so therefore, the next question which must be running in your mind: who are these people? Who are these mentors? Where are they? How can I get them? I think the answer is, if you just look around, you will find them. Because a mentor can be anyone, a professional advisor. It can also be your father. It can be your family member. Except they need to understand the overall corporate situation in the country. Which are the industries which are doing well? What are the industries where one can get into? What are the challenges which you are going to face? And they must also understand you. So it can be anybody. You don't need to go to a company like Intercell and get people like us. It can be anybody, but they should be knowledgeable, and they should be mature, and they should be able to understand a corporate situation to your particular strengths and weaknesses. So as I said, a mentor should have academic, economic and industry overview from both short-term and long-term perspective. For example, people could predict some years back that diesel is going out of the way. We never believed. I mean, a lot of people didn't believe it. Now we are seeing a day will come. Today, for example, when you drive and you have, let's say, a car with a CNG, for example, you have to go and ask, do you have CNG? You have to keep asking, because there are not too many numbers. But a day will come when possibly you must go to your bunk and ask, do you have diesel? The situation is going to happen. So a very long-term perspective, the person should be having, more than short term, they should be having a very long-term perspective. Okay. So I think we are just finishing quite on time. So in the end, what I would like to tell all of you is choose a profession you love and work with passion, because only that can get you happiness in both the profession as well as in your personal life. So in the last, 1.5 hours, we discussed all about career planning and development. And what did we discuss? Just try to remember what we discussed. One is importance of career, then triangle of success, which is 3 factors. That is, your attitude is the most important, then your skills and your knowledge. And how do you make a career plan? And what is the importance of first job? And what are the functional areas where you may get into? And what kind of job roles will be there? And then I gave you 5 essential skills for career success to focus on. And then I also shared with you my the corporate beliefs, the mindset, and the reality. And we spoke about career roadblocks, what can happen. And therefore, we said mentoring is very important. And so this is what we have done today. This time is really short. So I would describe this as a kind of an introduction to this subject. And definitely we will meet at some time in the institute and do something beyond this. Maybe we start from here and do a kind of a workshop, and if possible draw individual career plans. So finally, what I can say is a teacher or a trainer can only open the doors for you, but you must walk through it yourself, meaning it's on you how you plan and how you manage your career. And all of us, including me and the institute, people in the institute, will be only happy to help you. Okay, so this is the end of it, and we can have some questions if anything is there. Okay, thank you.